Hey YouTubers, Access Knowledge lovers, and Caped Crusaders all across the fruited plain. I'm here to talk to you about Anzac. Now, I'm in a car and there's no Access Knowledge board. There's no little army men to look at. Okay, well, change it up and do something different with our YouTube channel. So I'm in my dumpy but trusty, reliable Suburban with my son, who's doing a driving lesson, and we are on our way to pick up some underwear, actually, some Tommy John underwear, because you know what, my guys are worth it. So, anyways, so Anzac. What do I have to say about Anzac? Well, I have to say that General Hand Grenade has done an excellent job already of speaking about Anzac. However, I definitely agree that you don't want to lose Sydney. So let me just say amen to that. Now the starting setup though, if you collected all your troops in Sydney, you actually end up with a substantial force. Now for my way of thinking, and this is something actually I'm going to work on as the Japanese, is I'd love to figure out how to grab Sydney early. I actually don't think it can be done. I think it's a coup de grace. I think it's an over-the-top. I think it's a finishing move for Japan to actually end the war, end the game. I think an early move on Sydney is probably pretty dangerous for Japan. And so I'm not quite as concerned, although again, I would say, like hand grenade, hey, don't lose hit Sydney. Now, if you combine the French troops, I know, not much, the Chinese troops and the Anzac troops, and you can effectively use all of those, I think you actually add up to a substantial force, a force to be reckoned with. And so, you know, it's like the good words from the old book that say, do not despise the day of small things. And so don't despise Anzac. Anzac can actually be a great contribution to the American fleet. They can be sending submarines to trail the American fleet and so provide fodder, effective fodder pieces that can be removed for $6 instead of removing a destroyer, American destroyer, for $8, or worse, aircraft carrier or a fighter. So that's a great use of Anzac. After you get past that initial phase where you're secure and you know that if they come your way, you've got a defense force, and I would recommend also a retake force, because let's face it, if they do take it with bombardments and air, they have to land their troops. Normally speaking, they're going to take out their infantry first, and therefore you could actually retake it with a small force that's been held back in reserve. So let's just stick that in your pipe and smoke it. It's one of those ideas I have of staying away from the fighter swarms and the bombardments. The coastal areas where the Japanese are so strong. What else could you do besides sending fodder, foot soldiers of the sea to the American fleet, or perhaps the maybe a remnant British fleet in the Indian Ocean? Another option would be to convoy and to play around with that. Just keep the Japanese kind of busy a little bit. Yep, you're going to lose them, but you're going to annoy them. Hopefully you can lose them in such a way as that you cost Japan something. You want something. You want to do battles that actually are wars of attrition. You don't want to do battles where you're the only one that's going to lose a unit. The other thing I would do and have done, and this is pretty standard practice, SOP for me, standard operating procedure, is to build a try to send my fighters, after I've secured Sydney, send my fighters to Malaya or to India, and so strengthen and create a Anzac fighter swarm in Asia. Yeah, and the final thought, to keep this really short at almost 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes, is to be able to transport and retake a money island. I know from historical precedent and from anecdotal stories that the Americans literally sent troop transports unescorted by destroyers, 5,000 men across the Pacific Ocean, and that happens. And so transports operating without protection to secure and capture islands. Yes, I'm suggesting that. I really like the idea, and to tell you the truth, I'd love to see Anzac take Caroline. To annoy or even to capture it, keep a transport right there. The Americans come in, do an invasion on Japanese island. They eliminate most people, and maybe they get destroyed even. Then Anzac walks in, sends its transport, and actually wins the war. In your face, General Hand Grenade. Just kidding. So anyways, just razzing you there, buddy. So looking forward to meeting you in Oshawa, Canada. I think it's Oshawa. Anyways, that's my report battle strategies for Anzac. Very useful. Also, by the way, you could also build a bomber fleet if you're getting up there past 20. Station them on Guam or Wake, I believe, and bomb the Japanese Isle later in the war. All right. Well, that's it. That wraps it up. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll do some strategy reports. Anzac, love it. Love Anzac. Love Australia. Love New Zealand. Embrace the small powers. Bye.